Hello and welcome back to Indie and Music Industry World. This is the 74th episode featuring Tyler Miller.
Hello.
Yo,
Yo, do you listen me?
what is that?
Do you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Cool. How's it going, Tyler? You rock.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you. I'm
I
good. How
love
are you?
your music, you're incredible.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for being on my podcast, And you started to play music at the young age, just like at 12. When is the right moment that, when you say, okay, that's the moment when I want to do music?
I have been making music my entire life. I started playing piano when I was like 4 years old. I started writing around the same time. I've been singing my whole life. I wrote my first song when I was like 8 years old. And I showed my parents, and they were kind of like, damn, like, you're 8. This isn't a hit song, but it's a song. It's a real song. And I think they were impressed by that. So they, pushed me in a healthy way, but they pushed me to continue writing, continue working. So by the time I was about 12 years old, I started working with this guy from my hometown who taught me how to, record and like engineer vocals and really turn songs into like a record. And yeah, man, since then it's just been a journey of developing my sound.
Yeah, and it's cool
music,
because you got something different than most of all other artists. That's why I think that you're just like on a high level. How passing the time you shape your own sound, because you got a lot of big influences of music. That's what I love.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I feel like I draw influence from a lot of different artists, from a lot of different genres. When I was growing up, there was a lot of like hits one being played in the house. My parents weren't huge fans of specific artists or specific bands.
Yeah.
My dad loved Billy Joel. I feel like there was no like real fandom. So by the time I got to an age where I could start like developing my own taste and my own sound, I fell in love with artists like Frank Ocean, Daniel Caesar, Brent Faiyaz, Kanye. And I think that really shaped what I knew in music, which was very pop.
Yeah.
Pop. Mixed with those alternative, those R&B, hip hop sounds. I think really shaped the type of music that I make today.
How do you describe it technically, and how do you see passing the time evolving?
How do I describe my music?
Yeah, and your sound basically.
Yeah, I would say my sound, I call it alternative pop. You know what I mean? I genre all of my music as pop music. The vast majority of it, some of it, there's an R&B song or a rock song that isn't out yet, but I typically genre my music pop because I think pop is just music that appeals to a large audience. It's mainstream music. I think there's this stigma attached to the word pop that's very like, oh, Taylor Swift, Sabrina Carpenter, Olivia Rodrigo, it's like bubblegum pop.
Yeah.
Which it isn't. There's so pop just means popular music. There's so much in that world. There's such alternative, cool sounds with inspiration from, R&B artists, hip hop artists, rock artists. That is popular music, and I think that's really becoming evident today. I think a lot of artists are doing that alt pop thing, which is cool. But yeah, I think my music appeals to a broad audience, which is, one of my goals. I try to take the best bits from all my favorites, things that I love about them, and put it into my own music and hope that, I could tap into different fan bases from that sound,
Yeah, and how do you basically your songwriting process? Because you create a big hit. You don't create a song. That's different from a song and a hit. The kind of hits from the
Mhm.
radio, and it's hard. That's why I was just like,
Mhm.
wow, that's cool. That's a cool job. Do you basically start from a piano, or maybe you got some ideas from the lyrics? How's your process to write your own songs?
Yeah, typically I'll start at the piano, um, just because that's my instrument. I feel like I create the best from there. But oftentimes I'll start with a guitar, or I'll start with even a full beat if that's what it comes to. But typically I'll start on the piano. I'll find some chords that I like, and I'll kind of just start freestyling. Um, Melodically, it's a lot of different versions of what then become a verse or a chorus. Once I pick my favorite melodies, I'll start writing down lyric ideas. Typically in those freestyles, it's a lot of gibberish, but it's also a lot of, a lot of the words actually make sense, and I'm starting to say
Yeah.
something, whether I mean to or not. Like writing music, excuse me, writing music is therapy for me. So like, oftentimes I'll find that I'm saying something I didn't know I meant to say, and then I'll almost have to decipher those freestyles and start writing lyrics based off them.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it usually starts with honestly just like finding chords I like, finding melodies I like, and like fucking around from there. Being like, this works, let's build off that. All of a sudden, that's verse one. You know what I mean? I'll typically find one hook that honestly, I I try to write like verse, chorus, bridge, whatever. Like that whole form thing is very old school. It's important, and it's important to know it. It's important to know how to use it for certain genres, especially pop music. But like, I try to write hooks for each section. I think this hit song that you're talking about,
Yeah.
what we refer to as the verse, is really just the first thing that I sing typically, unless it is the chorus coming in first. But I try to write each section to be its own hook, to have its own thing melodically that you keep coming back to, that people recognize, that people deem a hit song, are those like special moments. But yeah, there's no science. It's very subjective. At the end of the day, it's
Yeah.
art.
How much is hard just like to write about your personal life, on the lyrics, and from the universal team, just like, and just to take that kind of balance from your life, and what's happening around. You basically talk about your life when you write your own songs.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, 95% of my songs come from a place of personal experience in some capacity. Whether I'm writing about a feeling, whether I'm writing about a story, like something that actually happened, or whether I'm writing about how I might wish something happened. I feel like a lot of, especially in my EP Sophia that came out in 2023, it's a lot of like what I want for myself, what I want for the future. But there's also definitely a world where I'll write songs, about something that's never happened to me, about something that happened to someone else, or, whether it's like just a fictional story that would be cool in a song. I feel like Tyler, the Creator, is really good at doing that. Something I really like about his music is like, oftentimes you're listening to it and it's like, obviously this isn't a real thing about you. It's about this character that you've created,
Yeah.
this facade that you're putting on for the song, which is really cool and artistic.
Yeah, as I love your sound, have you ever felt just like the pressure from the industry to create that kind of the kind of mainstream track, and be authentically with your music, just like to create what you want, and doesn't matter what the industry goes now,
Yeah. The industry This is one of the hardest industries in the world, the entertainment industry in specific, but in terms of music nowadays, it is so oversaturated with so much incredible talent. Everywhere you look on the internet, there is an incredibly talented musician,
Yeah.
artist, songwriter. That everyone is out there now, if that makes sense. Whereas back in the day, it felt like, you know, if you were good enough, you got a record deal, and that was it. And that was how you made it in music. But
I
you know,
can
over the
tell you
course of the last
something
10
because,
plus years,
yeah, I generally listen all the tracks. You know, maybe you listen something, but you got a something different because you keep my attention to all your tracks from the EP, and I listen all your music. That's a big
yeah,
difference.
I really appreciate that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I'm
cool.
independent. I'm independent, which is really hard to answer your last question. With the industry standards, like the pressure and all that, you know, not being signed to a label and like choosing this route of independence and like being in 100% creative control it's amazing, and I'm a huge advocate for it, but it's hard because there's no routine. And I wake up every day and it's like, A, what am I going to do? B, how am I going to make it? And C, like, am I good enough? You know what I mean? There's that self-doubt you have every day. I think every artist has it. It's like the classic imposter syndrome that everyone talks about. But like, you know, I just released that song, Self-Deprecating Blues. It's literally about that. It's about the days that you wake up and it's like, damn, am I good enough? You know what I mean? How many other people are doing exactly what I'm doing that are a better singer than me, that are a better writer than me, that are a better performer than me? You know, the goal is, if you're good at all of them, you know, you want to be great at all of them, you build that full package. That's what actually takes off. You have to be unique in your sound, in your marketing, in your image. You know, you can't be like every other artist. So I think what you're saying about how I keep you hooked and you want to listen to my whole discography means a lot to me, because that's the goal.
Yeah.
I'm trying to build this world around Tyler Miller that people fall in love with. That's how you build a real fan. You know, like, I'd rather that viral moment that everyone's chasing. I want to go viral. It's like, for what? I mean, yeah, sure, if you can go viral and keep it, that's amazing. That's the platform. But most of these people that go viral are viral, and then 6 months later, what happened to that guy? So I'd rather have 1,000 real people, real fans coming to my shows, buying my merch, screaming the lyrics to every song, than 100,000 people on a video online. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If it translates, that's amazing. That's the goal. That's how we get like mega global success. But I think at this stage, the idea is to get, you know, a smaller number of people that are diehard fans, as opposed to many people that know your name but don't actually care.
Yeah, that's right. You know, how is born the track Let's Continue Electronically? Because it's amazing. You know,
Thank
how
you.
did you start with the idea of the track? You know, the production too.
Yeah, that song kind of wrote itself. It's about, I sat down at the piano. I didn't even mean to start writing a song. There were a few songs I had in mind, some piano ballads that sonically were how I was feeling, if that makes sense. So I started playing them.
Yeah.
And then I started changing the chords and started coming up with my own chord progression that I fell in love with. And very soon after that, I was freestyling, and I had about, you know, 2 hours worth of just freestyles. And it's like a verbal journal in a sense. Like, I'm just spewing whatever I'm feeling at the time. I was going through, you know, a breakup of sorts. A relationship was ending, and I was just talking about it. And all of a sudden I had this whole song written in like an hour.
How much?
Like, damn, this
Amazing.
real.
You know, congrats so much. How much is hard for you to recreate that kind of energy from the studio session to the live shows? There's a lot of power in your performances. I cannot wait to see you here.
Yeah. Where are you located again?
I'm in Italy,
Where in Italy?
in Milan. Have you ever been?
I have. I love Milan. I was just in Florence,
Yeah,
visiting my
Florence
brother who
is
was studying
cool.
there.
I
It was
hope you
beautiful.
can
I like
come
Milan.
here
I like
with
Milan better.
shows, man, because you
Yeah,
rock. Totally.
I appreciate that. Um, to answer your question, it's a totally different energy. I mean, when I'm in the studio, I get as many takes as I need to get the sound that I want. Whereas on stage, you get one chance. So you kind of I kind of black out when I'm on stage and I just leave it all out there. And I feel like it's good, but it's bad because I feel like I'm not always singing with intention,
Yeah.
whereas I'm singing with emotion. There's a nice balance there because if I'm going to be going on, world tours for months at a time, I'm going to burn out if I don't use my voice properly and intentionally sing. But there's also something really beautiful about getting up there, closing your eyes, singing a song, and then all of a sudden it's over. And it's like,
That's
they
cool.
felt that, you know what I mean? The crowd felt what I felt, which is a really special feeling, honestly. But there's definitely a balance that needs to be there.
Yeah, and you did your own brand, right? Philos with your personal gadget and stuff. How did you get this idea to be just like from your own brand, and just like that
Yeah.
that could connect with the music too?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think merchandise, obviously merchandise is a
Yeah.
huge source of income for artists, especially as an independent artist. I think every move that I make, every song I put out, every piece of merchandise I put out has to be so curated, in order for me to make this work in the way that I want to. I don't think anyone wants to buy, I don't want to buy a sweatshirt or a hat or a shirt or whatever that says my favorite artist's name. I love Frank Ocean and Daniel Caesar, but I'm not wearing clothing that says Frank Ocean, Daniel Caesar. I think it's stupid. I think it's corny.
Yeah.
So I'm not the first to do this. I mean, Frank Ocean does it. Brent Faiyaz does it. Tyler, the Creator, does it very, very well. The idea is to make a brand, Philo, I'm actually wearing the ring right now.
That's cool.
That is separate from the music. There's Tyler Miller, the artist, and there's Philo, the brand.
Yeah.
Fans of Tyler Miller will find Philo because it is Tyler Miller's merchandise, and fans of Philo will find Tyler Miller because Tyler Miller is Philo.
That's
what I mean?
amazing.
So I actually haven't launched it yet. It's been a very long journey of just word of mouth, slight digital marketing, but getting the word out there that Philo exists. And it's like, oh shit, what is that? That's cool. All my friends wear it. All I have right now is a trucker hat. Obviously,
I will buy it because the rings you are very cool.
And the rings. I love chrome hearts, so I was very inspired to make jewelry similar to theirs.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was put in touch with a really talented jewelry maker, and we have these handmade sterling silver rings that all my friends are wearing, which is awesome. And it's kind of like, yo, that ring's really cool. What is that? And they're like, oh shit, check this story out.
Absolutely love your
Tyler,
vision, because you can have your own music, you have your business too with this, and it's totally cool. Congrats so much. Which are your next projects? Are you planning a new EP now, or maybe just like new touring?
I'm definitely going to be performing a lot. I'm working towards a tour for sure, but I don't think we're there yet. I think right now I'm performing in venues around New York.
Yeah.
I had been all of 2025. Took a little bit of a break to release the music. Now that the music's out, I'm gonna start performing again. I would love to make my way out of the country.
Yeah,
like
I will pass all your
so
stuff to all my people, because you call, I want you to perform all around the US and here in Europe. You got talent.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you. I have a lot of new music ready to go. I am releasing, so I perform a cover of Love on the Brain by Rihanna.
Yeah.
That tends to be the fan favorite. I usually close the shows with that. So I'm releasing a studio version of that. I've been like recording, my own version of that song for a little while, which is super exciting. I can't wait for that to come out. That'll probably be the next thing that comes out. Along with a handful of new originals that are definitely on the way.
You totally got my support, and I cannot wait to listen to your new music. We'll keep on touch. So I tell you when they reply to me, maybe they're interested to work on something. I tell you, I just got contacts with labels too. So
Hell yeah,
you
man.
totally got my support.
I appreciate it. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you too for this interview. Really appreciate you. You got talent.
Hell yeah,
Totally.
brother. I appreciate you. Thank you
Absolutely.
very much.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
I'm gonna be
Bye,
good.
friend.
Thank you.
Bye.